The notification pinged on my phone at 11:47 a.m. while I was reviewing quarterly reports in my cramped office above the used bookstore. A LinkedIn alert. Rebecca Williams shared a new post. I tapped on it, already knowing exactly what I would see. Lately, Rebecca had been flooding social media with updates, documenting every milestone in Williams Tech's explosive growth, like it was a public celebration. This time, the post featured a professionally staged photograph of her standing confidently in front of the company's sleek glass headquarters, sunlight reflecting off the polished building behind her. Her arms were folded neatly across her chest, and she wore that polished, confident smile she had perfected for investor presentations and tech conferences. The caption read, "Celebrating 5 years of family success without the dead weight. Sometimes you have to leave certain people behind to reach your full potential. Williams Tech just closed our Series C at a $400 million valuation. Grateful for the family members who believed in the vision from day one. Hashtag entrepreneurship, hashtag family business, hashtag tech success, hashtag growth mindset." The post already had 847 likes, and the number kept climbing. Comments poured in from venture capitalists, startup founders, extended family members, and industry leaders, all praising Rebecca's vision and leadership and congratulating her on what they described as an incredible success story. I scrolled through the replies slowly. "Inspirational. You've built something amazing, Rebecca," Mom had commented. "So proud of my brilliant daughter," followed by a flexed biceps emoji. "Rebecca Williams is a force of nature. Honored to be part of this journey," Uncle Jim had written. Cousin Mark added, "Can't wait to see what you build next. The Williams family legacy continues." I pressed the heart icon and typed my own response beneath the flood of praise. "Congratulations. So happy to see your success." 3 minutes later, Rebecca liked my comment. 20 minutes after that, she deleted it. The irony wasn't lost on me. The dead weight she was referring to was currently sitting in a 200-square-foot office wearing a 5-year-old sweater and eating a peanut butter sandwich for lunch while she posed in front of $1 million headquarters celebrating a $400 million valuation funded entirely by my money. My phone buzzed again. A text message from Mom. "Did you see Rebecca's post? Isn't it wonderful how well she's doing?" I replied, "Yes, very impressive." A moment later, another message arrived. "I wish you could find something you're passionate about like Rebecca has. She's really made something of herself." The truth was, I had found something I was passionate about a long time ago. I was passionate about discovering undervalued technology companies and providing the growth capital that allowed them to expand. For the past 8 years, I had quietly built a portfolio worth just over $3 billion through a network of investment funds and holding companies. What I wasn't passionate about was publicity or taking credit for it. Rebecca's version of the story was undeniably compelling, and she told it well. According to the narrative she loved sharing with journalists and conference audiences, she had graduated from MIT with a computer science degree and spotted an opportunity in the enterprise software market. From her garage, she built Williams Tech from the ground up, recruiting top engineers, landing major corporate clients, and scaling the company from a startup to a unicorn in just 5 years. What she never mentioned was where the capital had come from. Williams Tech had raised funding through 3 major rounds, a $5 million seed round, a $25 million Series A, and $175 million Series B. Rebecca still owned 47% of the company, giving her a paper net worth somewhere around $188 million. The lead investor in every round had been Meridian Ventures, a private equity firm known for specializing in enterprise software companies. Meridian alone had invested $25 million into Williams Tech, making it the largest shareholder after Rebecca herself. What Rebecca didn't know was that Meridian Ventures was actually a subsidiary of Pacific Capital Group, which in turn was owned by Cascade Holdings, which was controlled by a private trust I had established while I was still in graduate school at Stanford. In other words, I was Rebecca's anonymous investor.
I was the source behind every dollar that had helped build her empire. I had first discovered Williams Tech during its seed round, when Rebecca was pitching her idea to anyone willing to listen.
The technology itself was strong, the market research was impressive, and the business model showed clear scalability. She was also my sister, although she had no idea I was the one evaluating her company. The decision to invest hadn't been emotional or sentimental. Williams Tech simply fit the exact profile I looked for in a startup: solid fundamentals, capable leadership, a massive addressable market, and a defensible competitive advantage. In fact, the fact that Rebecca was family made me even more cautious. I carried out additional due diligence to make sure personal feelings weren't influencing the decision. But as the company grew and Rebecca's attitude toward me gradually worsened, the investment became something far more complicated. At first, the comments were subtle. She would make remarks about my lack of ambition when I chose to work part-time at a literacy nonprofit rather than pursue a traditional corporate career. At family gatherings, she joked about my modest lifestyle when I arrived driving my old Honda Civic while she pulled up in her brand new Tesla. Eventually, the tone shifted more noticeably. Rebecca started presenting herself as the family's great success story, the one who had supposedly inherited Dad's entrepreneurial spirit, while I had inherited Mom's supposed tendency to coast through life without goals. She began giving interviews about how important it was to surround yourself with ambitious, growth-minded people and distance yourself from those who didn't share the same vision. The dead weight remarks had started about 2 years ago. They were always phrased indirectly, never mentioning me by name, but the target was unmistakably clear. Sometimes family members hold you back without meaning to. Not everyone is cut out for the startup lifestyle. You have to be willing to outgrow people who don't evolve with you. Last Christmas had been the breaking point. Rebecca had stood up during dinner to give a toast about Williams Tech's success, specifically thanking the family members who had supported her vision from the beginning while pointedly avoiding eye contact with me. She'd concluded with, "Success requires making difficult choices about who gets to be part of your journey." Now, 6 months later, she was posting about family success without the dead weight to her 15,000 LinkedIn followers, publicly positioning herself as the visionary entrepreneur who'd overcome the burden of unsupportive family members. I opened my laptop and logged into the secure portal for Pacific Capital Group. My investment dashboard showed the current Williams Tech position: $25 million in deployed capital across 3 funding rounds, representing a 52% ownership stake in the company through various investment vehicles. I pulled up Rebecca's most recent pitch deck, the one she'd presented to Meridian Ventures 3 months ago when requesting the Series C funding that would take Williams Tech to their $400 million valuation. Slide 12 was titled Family Legacy, featuring photos of her with Dad at his old accounting firm, Uncle Jim at his small business, and various other family members who'd inspired her entrepreneurial journey. I wasn't in any of the photos. The irony was that Rebecca's entire business philosophy was built around the importance of smart capital allocation and strategic partnerships. She'd written blog posts about how finding the right investors was crucial to startup success. She'd spoken at conferences about the value of having aligned financial partners who understood your vision. She just didn't know that her primary aligned financial partner was the sister she'd publicly dismissed as dead weight. I opened a new browser tab and logged into my secure messaging system. My wealth management team at Blackstone Capital was available 24/7 for high-priority portfolio decisions. "Need to schedule a call regarding Williams Tech's position," I typed, "considering strategic changes to our investment structure." The response came back within 10 minutes. "Available for call at your convenience. Current position is $25 million across Series AC funding rounds. Company performance remains strong. Is this related to the recent Series C valuation?" I scheduled the call for 3 p.m., then spent the next few hours reviewing Williams Tech's financial statements, market position, and growth projections. From a purely investment perspective, the company was performing exceptionally well. Revenue was growing at 85% year over year, profit margins were expanding, and they'd just signed their largest enterprise client ever. Rebecca was objectively an excellent co. She'd built a valuable company, made smart, strategic decisions, and created significant value for investors.
The fact that she was using that success to publicly humiliate me was a separate issue from her business competence. At 3 p.m., I called my portfolio manager at Blackstone, Miss Chin. Marcus Richardson answered. "Thank you for making time today. I understand you want to discuss Williams Tech." "I'm considering liquidating our position," I said. There was a pause. "The entire position? That's $25 million in deployed capital." "I understand the magnitude. May I ask what's driving this decision? The company's fundamentals remain very strong." I considered how to explain this. "It's a strategic alignment issue with the management team." Something like that. Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Ms. Chin, as your fiduciary advisor, I need to point out that Williams Tech is one of our highest performing investments. The Series C valuation represents a 4.2x return on our Series A investment. If they go public next year as planned, we're projecting returns in the 8 to 10x range." "I understand the financial implications. And you still want to liquidate?" "I want to understand what liquidation would look like. What are our options?" "Well," Marcus said, "we could sell our position to another investor, though finding someone willing to take on $25 million in secondary shares might take time. Or we could exercise our liquidation preferences under the shareholder agreement." "What would that involve?" "We'd trigger a forced sale of the company. As the majority shareholder, we have the right to demand immediate return of invested capital plus accrued interest. Given Williams Tech's current cash position, they'd be unable to meet that obligation. So they'd have to find new investors or face bankruptcy." "Yes. Without our continued backing, they don't have enough cash flow to service their existing obligations." "What about Rebecca's personal exposure?" Marcus pulled up more documents. "Ms. Williams has personal guarantees on approximately $15 million in company debt. She'd also lose her equity stake, which is currently worth about $188 million on paper. So she'd go from multi-millionaire to bankrupt, essentially." "Yes." I thanked Marcus and told him I'd get back to him with the decision. Then I sat in my small office looking out at the street below where people were going about their normal lives, unaware that I was contemplating a decision that would destroy my sister's empire. The rational part of my brain knew this was a bad financial decision. Williams Tech was a solid investment with excellent growth prospects. Rebecca was building real value, creating jobs, and solving legitimate market problems. Destroying the company would hurt innocent employees and customers, not just Rebecca. But the emotional part of my brain was tired of being called dead weight by the person whose success I'd funded. My phone buzzed with another LinkedIn notification. Rebecca had posted again, this time sharing an article about toxic family dynamics with her own commentary. "Sometimes the people who claim to love you are actually the ones holding you back. Building a successful company means having the courage to prioritize growth over guilt. #boundaries, #growth, #entrepreneurship. 456 likes in the first hour. I opened the comments section. More praise for Rebecca's wisdom and strength, more congratulations on her success, more validation for her decision to distance herself from negative influences. Then I saw a comment from our cousin Sarah. "So inspiring. I've been dealing with similar issues with family members who don't understand my goals. It's hard but necessary to leave some people behind." Rebecca had replied, "Exactly. You can't let other people's limitations become your limitations. Sometimes family is the biggest obstacle to overcome." I stared at that comment for a long time. Sometimes family is the biggest obstacle to overcome. I was the obstacle, the sister who'd quietly provided every dollar that built her company was the limitation she'd courageously overcome. I opened my secure messaging app and typed a message to Marcus. Please proceed with liquidation of Williams Tech position. Exercise liquidation preferences immediately. Understood. This will trigger bankruptcy proceedings within 30 days. Are you certain you want to proceed? Yes. I'll need written authorization for a transaction of this magnitude. You'll have it within the hour. I drafted the authorization, digitally, signed it, and sent it through our encrypted system. By tomorrow morning, Rebecca's lawyers would receive notice that Meridian Ventures was exercising their liquidation preferences and demanding immediate return of all invested capital. Williams Tech would have 30 days to come up with $25 million or face bankruptcy.
But first, I had one more LinkedIn post to make. I opened my personal profile, the one with 127 connections, mostly former colleagues from the nonprofit and a few Stanford classmates. No blue checkmark, no impressive job title, no professional headshot. I typed, "Congratulations to my sister Rebecca Williams on her incredible success with Williams Tech. As someone who has followed her journey closely, I can say she's built something truly impressive. Proud to have been part of the story from the beginning. #FamilyFirstProuds." I tagged Williams Tech in Rebecca's profile, then hit post. Within minutes, the comments started coming in. Rebecca is lucky to have such a supportive sister. Family support is so important for entrepreneurs. Beautiful to see siblings celebrating each other's success. Rebecca liked the post but didn't comment. 20 minutes later, she deleted my tag. An hour after that, my phone rang. Rebecca's name on the caller ID. "Anna," she said when I answered, "what was that LinkedIn post about?" "I was congratulating you on your success. The Series C announcement was impressive." "You don't usually post about business stuff." "I thought this was worth sharing. I'm proud of what you've built." There was a pause. "Thank you. That's unexpected." "Why is it unexpected?" "You know why. We haven't exactly been close lately." "You've been busy building your company. I understand." "Anna, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you ever think about what you want to do with your life? I mean, really do." I considered this question. I think I'm doing it. Working part-time at a literacy nonprofit, living in that tiny apartment? And you're smart. You could do so much more. What if I told you I was already doing more? What do you mean? What if I told you I had other projects, other interests? Rebecca laughed. Like what? Anna, I'm not trying to be mean, but you live like a college student. You drive a car from 2015. You shop at thrift stores. What if I told you those were choices, not limitations? Then I'd say you're making very strange choices. What if I told you I was an investor? An investor? Anna, you can barely afford to contribute to family gifts. What if I told you I was your investor? The line went quiet. What are you talking about? Rebecca finally said. I'm talking about Meridian Ventures, your lead investor, your primary source of funding. Anna, that's not funny. I'm not trying to be funny. Meridian Ventures is a major private equity firm. They manage billions in assets. I know. I control them. That's impossible. Why is it impossible? Because you work at a nonprofit. You live in a studio apartment. You can't even afford a decent car. I can afford whatever I want. Rebecca, I choose to live simply. Anna, stop. This isn't funny anymore. Check your email. Your lawyers should be receiving some documents tomorrow. What documents? Liquidation preferences. Meridian Ventures is exercising our right to demand immediate return of invested capital. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the $25 million I've invested in Williams Tech over the past 5 years. I want it back. Anna, you're scaring me. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me is that I'm tired of being called dead weight by the person whose success I funded. I never called you dead weight. Family success without the dead weight? LinkedIn post this morning, 847 likes. Rebecca was quiet for a long moment. Anna, if you're serious, if this is real, Williams Tech can't survive losing Meridian's backing. I know. It would destroy everything I've built. I know.
please, I'm begging you, don't do this.
Give me one reason why I shouldn't. Because I'm your sister. You weren't my sister this morning when you posted about family success without the dead weight. And I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. About which part? The part where you called me dead weight? Or the part where you didn't know I was funding your success? Both. All of it. Anna, please, we can fix this. How? I'll make a public apology. I'll give you credit. I'll tell everyone the truth. What truth? That you've been supporting the company. That I've been supporting the company? Rebecca, I don't just support the company. I own the company. You work for me. The line went dead. 3 hours later, Rebecca called back. Anna, I talked to my lawyers. They confirmed that Meridian Ventures filed liquidation papers this afternoon. Yes, they did. Anna, this will bankrupt me. I'll lose everything. I know. Please tell me what you want. I'll do anything. I want you to understand that success doesn't give you the right to treat people as disposable. You're right. You're absolutely right. I want you to understand that family should matter more than your personal brand. It does. It will. I want you to understand that the person you called dead weight was the person making your success possible. I understand, and I'm so sorry. I was horrible. I was wrong about everything. But you don't really understand, do you, Rebecca? Because if you did, you wouldn't have treated me that way in the first place. I understand now. Because now you know I have money. No, because I realized I was wrong about you. Prove it. How? Make another LinkedIn post. Tell your 15,000 followers that Williams Tech was built entirely on investment capital from your sister. Tell them that the dead weight you left behind was actually the person funding your success. Anna, I can't do that. Why not? Because it would ruin my reputation. It would make me look like a fraud. More of a fraud than taking credit for success you didn't earn? Anna, please, there has to be another way. There is no other way, Rebecca. The papers have been filed. Williams Tech has 30 days to return $25 million or face bankruptcy. What if I gave you equity, made you a public partner? I already own 52% of your company, Rebecca. I don't need you to give me equity. Then what do you want? I want you to experience what it feels like to lose everything while someone you trusted watches it happen. Anna, please, I'm begging you. Like I was begging you to stop calling me deadweight. I never knew it hurt you because you never asked. You never cared enough to ask. I hung up. Within an hour, my phone was buzzing with calls from other family members. Mom, Dad, Uncle Jim, Cousin Mark. All of them had heard from Rebecca, all of them wanting to understand what was happening. I let them all go to voicemail. By tomorrow, the business press would be reporting that Williams Tech was facing a financial crisis. By next week, Rebecca's personal brand as a visionary entrepreneur would be destroyed. By next month, the company she'd built would be gone, and I would go back to my job at the literacy nonprofit helping underserved kids learn to read, because despite what Rebecca believed, some things were more important than being seen as successful. Though I had to admit, watching the bankruptcy notices arrive was going to be satisfying, just like I told Blackstone they would.